So today, after walking down to Mallin's and picking up some sticky buns while we're on vacation down here in Ocean City, New Jersey. So today, after walking down to pick up some sticky buns from Mallin's here in Ocean City, New Jersey, I took some time before the kids and Rachel woke up to leaf through the Philadelphia Inquirer and came across a really important story that I think most people are going to miss. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Being a man of a certain age, I can tell you guys from experience that often the stories on the front page of the newspaper are not the ones you need to pay attention to. I mean, yeah, LeBron's coming. I appreciate it. I got my name in to buy season tickets. I'm not there to see LeBron. I think he's icing on the cake. He is not the person who was going to win us a championship this year. But let's keep moving on. It's not on page one. It's not on page two or three. It's not on four or five. It's not on six or seven. It's buried down here on page eight and nine. And no, it's not that Ford's recalling another shitty ass American product because it might catch fire. It's the story right next to it. Trump officials vote to rewrite preservation rules on public input. Let's take a look at that story. Let's jump in. Trump officials on Friday voted to rewrite federal rules intended to protect historic sites, sending the plan to the White House for further review. The Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, a federal agency that oversees preservation reviews and advises the president and Congress, said it was moving forward with changes to a federally required process that governs changes to landmarks such as the National Mall, sites that are significant to indigenous tribes, and other properties eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. The process currently applies to any construction projects that are on federal land or receive federal funding, as well as private projects that require any type of federal approval. If codified into law, the new rules would make it easier for Donald Trump. Remember him? He's that pedophile we've been talking about for a while now, to pursue his controversial construction projects, such as building his planned Triumphal Arch, and could eliminate the need for public input on other major federal projects. The ACHP is dominated by Trump appointees, leaving little doubt the proposal will pass. According to the good folks over at Wikipedia, the ACHP was created by the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, which sets forth most of the ACHP's duties and authorities. Passage of the NHPA was a watershed event that launched a transformation of the federal government from an agent of indifference, frequently responsible for the needless loss of historic resources, to a facilitator, an agent of thoughtful change, and a responsible steward of historic properties for future generations. Hell, I'll show you how nonpartisan this thing was. If you go down a little further and look at the list of chairmen, you can see here that in 1967, it's Sylvester K. Stevens. Who the fuck knows who that guy is? But he served under Nixon and Ford. And then the next guy to take his place served under Ford and Carter. If you go down this list, you can see that all of these chairmen are overlapping administrations. We'll come back to that. So back in 1966, we held on to the myth that there could be things like statesmen in this country, people who put the country over their own private needs. The problem with this legislation that was passed in 1966 is that it treated the president as a benevolent person. What they could not envision in 1966 was an egotistical, narcissistic, pedophilic piece of shit like Donald Trump. He has control of 21 of the 24 designated members of this council that is supposed to take into consideration the preservation of our history. It's our property they're destroying. It's our property, not theirs, not Donald Trump's. Responses to this announcement were swift and pretty damning. From the National Association of Tribal Historic Preservation Officers, they say, as a voting member of the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, NATHPO has voted no on advancing the proposed revisions to 36 CFR Part 800 as a notice of proposed rulemaking. From the National Conference of State Historic Preservation, this announcement instead presented council members with nearly a complete rewrite of the regulations and asked to participate in an unassembled vote with only 1 week's notice, abandoning the previously outlined process. That departure from the process matters and so does the proposal itself. Finally, from the National Trust of Historic Preservation, since the enactment of NHPA 60 years ago, Section 106 has been the foundational requirement for federal agencies to take into account the effects of their actions on historic properties and places, enabling public participation and comment in the process, empowering state and local governments and tribal communities to have a voice in the process, and often improving the project and enhancing the outcome. These new regulations will lead to more delays and more litigation as federal agencies and applicants try to navigate compliance without the well-known and well-used consultation process, which often leads to negotiated win-win outcomes. The preservation community and our partners across the country are mobilizing to fight this harmful proposal. Past this prologue, and as I've told you any number of times, everything Trump touches dies. Here's just some highlights from the last year. And this is what he's going to end up doing nationwide once this proposal goes into effect.
It was supposed to be American flag blue. Instead, it's turned an unappealing algae bloom green. The historic Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool reopened in early June, following a controversial renovation project ordered by President Donald Trump.
And this.
Delayed opening due to the heat and the fair breaking down literally. New footage from the Daily Beast captures a portion of the event stage collapsing during rehearsals for tomorrow's performance. Spokesperson for Freedom 250 says that everyone is safe and that additional safeguards have been put in place. That is on top of Trump's triumphal arc oozing on unidentified yellow substance. Not sure exactly what that is. As Trump's fair crumbles before Independence Day has even begun, we are learning more about what that decaying facade is masking.
And lastly, I'm going to leave you with this classic. Donald Trump, the only man ever to bankrupt 2 casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Here's what happens to everything this guy tries to do. That's our country, folks. And pretty soon it's going to be all of our historic sites as well. Later.